everyone. We're fighting off mosquitoes and scavenging for any kind of raw food we can get. Out here in the swampy swamps, to bring you another episode of Stan, Steve, and Spider-Man, the show where we go through Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's amazing Spider-Man run and have a little fun along the way. Joining me as ever on this scaly episode is a prehistoric customer who's probably really tired of my puns already.
I could never be tired of your puns, Alfie.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mosquito.
As ever, it's the infallible, the sensational, the spectacular Matt.
Greetings, y'all.
How are you, man?
Oh, I can't complain. Just trying not to get eaten alive out here by them gators.
Yeah, exactly. For anyone unaware or haven't listened to our previous episode, we ended off with basically foretelling that we're going to go to this issue of Amazing Spider-Man number 6, where we have the first appearance of the Lizard. So, again, as we like to do here, I'm going to try and get general impressions of the Lizard as a character, what old Kurt Connors has been to you in, like, his various, like, adaptions and such.
I feel like there's a weird period of my life, like age maybe, like, 5, for, like, a couple months, where, like, the Lizard was, for some reason, like, was my favorite, like, Spider-Man supervillain.
Oh, that's really cool.
I like like all in all, like, it usually, like, after a while it always bounced back to Green Goblin. Like I go through, like, Spider-Man supervillain phases, but there was, like, a good, like, few months where, like, I just thought, I mean, he's a giant alligator, man. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's like everyone loves dinosaurs, especially at that age.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just a dinosaur, man. And then what actually really got me interested in him was it's an awful piece of Spider-Man medium, but Spider-Man 3, the video game.
This is a nostalgia trip for me.
No, it's awful. But, you know, when you're 8, 7, 9, and, you know, you spent your last $20 of allowance you've been saving up forever on Spider-Man 3, you just have to try and learn to love it. But there was, like, a Lizard, like, side mission that, like, I don't really remember it now. But I remember, like, man, the Lizard's so cool.
Do you remember in that game, there's, like, Larry the Lizard, who's just, like, this guy with, like, he's trying to sell, like, lizard merchandise, and he's just, like a lizard head. And he's just, like, a regular guy in, like, a foam lizard head. And he's walking around. It's such an odd choice in that game, but I always remember it. He's just like, come on, crazy lizard in the sewers of New York. Come on. I'm just like, okay.
That's so funny. No, I don't remember that at all, but that's great.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things. I remember that game as well. And I really remember the animated series intro. The Lizard's in that, and, like, it's kind of iconic of, like, Spider-Man jumps off the wall and kicks him. And also, like, the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. The Lizard's great in that. He's only in one episode, but it's, like, a really good episode. The Lizard's always kind of been a character that you don't really need to do it. He's one of the few Spider-Man villains, especially this early on, who has the cool factor, because a lot of, as we get into Spider-Man history, you'll see characters like Venom and Carnage who, like, go hardcore for, like, this is just a really cool design, this just looks really badass. As much as we love these early superhero villains, aside from Doctor Doom, their designs aren't meant to be cool. They're meant to look, oh, this will be the person Spider-Man defeats. So they're meant to look old or ugly, or they're meant to look like people you're supposed to defeat, because the bad guy is not supposed to be rooted for. As we have a culture of kind of evolved and moved on, we've kind of learnt to appreciate bad guys a little bit more, and we'd like a cool villain design. And I think the Lizards is a real winner. It definitely feels the most Steve Ditko of the Spider-Man rogues.
Yeah,
this guy is just a universal movie monster.
Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely, it definitely felt really grounded compared to the other ones so far.
Mm-hmm. Especially just, like, the white lab coat, and he's still got he's kind of got the lizard head, but it's not quite a snout. At this point, it's, like, very human, freakish. It does very feel like, again, like a B-movie villain, but that in the most wonderful way, because, again, Marvel's roots were horror comics. That's what Steve Ditko spent his time before the superhero boom. That's what he was drawing. So I definitely feel like this this is one of his babies. In the same way that maybe Stan Lee really likes Sandman or Doctor Doom, I feel like the Lizard is one of Steve Ditko's, like, this is my pitch.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I could agree with that. But he's also really unique in a sense because, like, I feel like most Spider-Man villains aren't very sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dr. Octopus, like, oh well, you're just an insane old man. Vulture's like, well, you're just a robber. But like the Lizard's just trying to like help himself and all of humanity.
Yeah, it's a really tragic, and it's a backstory that like resonates even harder today. Especially when we see so many like veterans who like come back from war, and I imagine after, like, this was a big thing as well, like dealing with the war after World War II and such, and even with the Cold War kicking off, there were a lot of veterans and like people with like injuries that they wish they could fix, and it's a very real thing, especially. I'm not too sure about Steve Ditko, but Stan Lee did serve in the war. So he has experience in that aspect. He probably did see people with really horrific injuries. Not on the battlefield because he was telecommuting. He was doing communications, but like people coming back to base, he probably would have seen with like horrible injuries, especially that young age for him. So yeah, I think Lizard comes from a very real place compared to a lot of villains, and that's what lets him endure without any real changes, because despite how many reinventions like other Spider-Man villains have had, like you've got new layers to their backstory, they've added more things, the Lizard as he is in this issue has kind of never been really changed, at least in terms of his backstory.
Yeah, so it's always pretty maintained the same. He's just a good doctor without an arm.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's an interesting thing we can talk about, because we talked about the Lizard like design wise and stuff, but I feel like Kurt Connors is interesting because you have so many evil scientists in Spider-Man. You have so many selfish people who like use their powers and then get themselves in trouble because of it. Like Ultimate Spider-Man gets a lot of mileage out of making Norman Osborn and Dr. Octopus just the absolute asshole scientists who deserve what they get, but then blame it on everyone else. Kurt Connors is genuinely misguided, maybe, but doing it for a good cause and purely altruistic, even more so than the Peter Parker. And he gets fucked over for it, and especially with his wife and his kid there, it helps you realize that this is something the Amazing Spider-Man movie really lacked on. I feel it's very important that you know that Dr. Kurt Connors isn't just an insane scientist. He has to be a father and a husband who's doing this for his children and his wife.
Oh, I forgot that. Oh my god, we've had the Lizard in a movie.
Yeah, we try to forget that as well.
Well, I'll say, I don't completely hate Amazing Spider-Man. Like, when I look back on it, like, I remember, like in the skateboarding scene, I think it's fun. I don't care what anyone says. I like his first few outings as Spider-Man, but I totally forgot he even fights the Lizard. Yeah, because the Lizard was so generic.
Because his snout is like they tried to go for this, but it's one of those things where like Steve Ditko still draws him like a lizard here. He's just like a smaller lizard face. Like it's not like full alligator snout. Like he's like a gecko or something. In the movie, they just give him a person face.
I say, well, now I need to look up the design just because I don't remember it. But like, no, even like personality-wise in that movie, he just wasn't the Lizard. He was this
generic movie bad guy.
Yeah. He's this evil mad scientist like the rest of them.
Which you really, and that's what as well is because they planted his family.
Yeah, this looks bad.
Yeah, it's not it.
He kind of reminds me of like a really high def version of Bowser. Or
oh my god!
From the Mario movie.
Yeah, I could totally see that. He's got the same like mouth thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy, and as well they forget the thing with the families. That's on the deleted scenes for the Amazing Spider-Man. Is they deleted that, and I have no fucking idea why. Because that's the most important thing for the Lizard's character is that you need to know that when he's out as the Lizard, he's not just being an asshole. He's lost something, and he has to. There's a reason why Peter should save him and not just like kill him or something, because he has to bring the guy back.
Yeah. I think that's one reason why I like Lizard stories is because Spider-Man, like Spider-Man doesn't hate the lizard. Like, like, he just he just has to stop him out of commitment because he doesn't want anyone to get hurt. But like, he really likes Kirk Connors. I think I've always liked that, distinction between any of his other villains.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree, and it adds a lot to like. You then even you don't have the lizard. You can have Kirk Connors as a supporting cast member who now and again Peter Parker goes to and asks for help, and that's a really nice touch that they did like in the Raimi movies. Is they had Kirk Connors as his teacher, so there's that connection, and then you also get him like asking him for help and like being a mentor figure to him, which makes me really sad that those movies never got to do the lizard because I think Sam Raimi would have fucking nailed it.
Oh yeah, Sam Raimi would have had. Well, I mean, seeing how well he already did 2 other scientists, I think there's no way he could mess up the lizard.
Especially with his horror background. The lizard is a horror character.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about. I was just thinking about storytelling. I wasn't even thinking about vision wise. His lizard would be so cool. His lizard would straight up look like the comic book lizard.
Perfectly. It would have just been like the long snout, the alligator with the big claws, but also standing upright in the ripped shirt, the ripped lab coat, and he would have just been in shadow and like jumped out and stuff. That would have been amazing. Yeah, that's so sad to think about. But just in terms of back in the day, before we cry over crocodile tears, what do you think of this cover, Matt? You know what? It's taking me a while to figure it out, but I think I finally figured out what I think of this cover. I really, really like it. I think my other thing is Lizard's face looks kind of goofy here. Mm-hmm. But everything else is cool. I think it's cool to see the Amazing Spider-Man logo in pink. Yes, that's a nice touch. How many times do you see it's always either like a black, a white, a red, or like a blue usually. Like how many times do you ever see it in pink? That's cool. Hot pink at that. And then I think that's just that might be like just one of those Deco's best drawn pictures of Spider-Man. Yeah, I agree. Like Spider-Man just looks really, really good on this cover. And then the web works like pulling him back up, I think are also pretty cool. And honestly, the lizard's outfit wise, I wish the lizard wore this purple lab coat. Like it doesn't really make sense why a man would be wearing a purple lab coat. But he looks like he should be a JoJo's villain, and I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm glad this isn't his color scheme because Jesus Christ, we have so many purple and green Spider-Man villains. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But at the same time, I actually think like the history behind this is probably the same reason why, for any comic book trivia, why the Hulk's skin got changed to grey and they made his pants went from grey to green and his pants went purple is at the time they couldn't really print white on like white and like grey properly on like for big areas because it would leak through to the next page, like you'd be able to see through it. So at least on covers, I think. I may be completely wrong about this by the time this issue came out, but I know that's like the common reason is like that's why Stan Lee says they changed the Hulk to green is because the grey colouring was it wasn't strong enough to hide what was behind the rest of the page because the paper was so cheap. That makes sense. So I think that's because there haven't really been any other colouring inconsistencies in this entire like run. So that seems like it was a deliberate change for the cover. But the cover is really gray too, though. So wouldn't it bleed no matter what due to all the gray in the background? Maybe. But I think maybe having the white is the reason why. Makes sense. Again, I'm just going off for what I know. You may be totally right. I may be just talking out my ass right now. Nothing new there. But yeah, I really like this cover as well. I really like Spider-Man's pose. It's a really interesting perspective, with the tunnel, and it's a nice like picture from the set piece. Definitely I wish this was used more. Like Todd McFarlane uses this a lot, where like Spider-Man hangs himself up by like loads of different threads of web rather than one. It's like he's like like how you see like silk dancers or like people who do like aerialists, where they have like loads of like the string they're like contorted around to hold themselves up. I think that's a really cool look for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. But like, how does Spider-Man get himself out of the web?
He's super flexy.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. But yeah,
Speaking of a hard flex though, this the interior cover.
Yeah.
This whole cover to me, or this whole thing, is just such a big flex on Marvel's part. It is common knowledge that Spider-Man is the most successful superhero since the Fantastic Four.
Damn.
This is the latest and possibly the greatest adventure of all, or this is the latest and possibly the greatest of all his adventures. You will know why the mysterious teenager has become America's super sensation. Like, they hype up Spider-Man so hard in this because I think it's kind of like what we said a few issues ago, where they didn't really know how well they sold until
now they know.
a little bit. Yeah. Now we know, and now we're like, man, this is the next big thing. They're aware that they're the GOAT. I think that's so cool to see him flex this hard.
Yeah, that's one of Stanley's greatest things is if something was popular, he knew exactly how to make it 10 times more popular. There's a reason why the Fantastic Four was titled the world's greatest comic magazine on the first issue. Like, he's so defiant and bold.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even realize. Yeah, I didn't realize they were just this issue 1. Still or not.
He really just hardcore was like, no, this is it. This is the greatest thing of my career. And then Spider-Man's like, nah, this is the greatest thing of my career. This is the greatest thing of anyone's career, except the other thing from my career. It's like, I love how he's just like, this is also like hardcore Stanley showing bias, because he doesn't mention any of the other, like, he doesn't mention the Hulk. He doesn't mention Thor or Iron Man.
Yeah.
He's hardcore. It's like, nah, these two are my babies. Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. Oh, this is it. This is my favorite thing.
Yeah, I see. It's weird. Yeah, now I think about it, it's really weird how much he doesn't really care that much about his other stuff. Like, I think I think the only thing I think he could possibly care about as much as Spider-Man Fantastic Four is maybe the X-Men sometimes.
Maybe, yeah. The thing as well with those books is Fantastic Four and Spider-Man are the only ones Stan Lee really co-wrote. As we get into this, he even stopped doing that, and like Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby basically did scripts as well. And he did the dialogues, but like a lot of like the first like 3 issues he would do the entire book of Marvel, but like when Stan Lee spoke in interviews and said like he did wrote every single issue of all those comics for like hundreds of issues. Come on, he's exaggerating, because you physically can't write an entire line on your own. Like, even if he did like the bare minimum, like the Marvel method, it still would be too much for his deadlines. So X-Men, Iron Man, they were written by other people the majority of the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that's. I like that touch. I like this interior cover a lot. I like Spider-Man getting like, I really like the Spider-Man logo in the corner here, where it's just like the masked web and like the name Spider-Man over it. That's a cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's like what the spider signal became.
You know what's if you zoom in on it, you know what's terrifying? The lizard right next to him, or the alligator right next to the lizard with all his teeth out, closest to like the hard flex bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he doesn't even have eyes; it's straight teeth.
Oh my god! I didn't even notice that. Jesus, that is horrifying.
Yeah, all these alligators are so differently drawn, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really nice to see this in a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah, it's just interesting. They're all so differently drawn, but they're all supposed to be essentially. Well, because I feel like most of the time, like when you see animals, they all kind of look the same. Like you can tell you actually like really put in like interest and touch with each of these different alligators.
A bit of personality.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of an alligator with personality, a giant lizard starts attacking the Florida Everglades. So nothing new.
Florida Florida man shoots lizard person in swamp.
This whole issue shouldn't be titled Face to Face with the Lizard. This whole issue should be titled Florida Man turns himself into a giant lizard and attacks Spider-Man.
Please make that the subtitle of the episode.
I have to. It is so they were so ahead of the time, man. They were predicting 2019 memes.
Oh yeah, no, Stanley and Steve Ditko like probably both went to Florida once. Or like, this place is gonna be really weird. This place is weird. This is gonna be really weird in like 70 years.
Of course, it's in Florida. Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we like really oddly, and I really appreciate it. We cut to this foresty area in the swamp in Florida, and the lizard's attacking people and going crazy, and they're trying to shoot him, and it doesn't. This is really. I didn't even remember this, that the lizard was bulletproof. Like, Jesus Christ. And then like he just like throws a giant tree trunk. And
yeah. Yeah. Let's discuss how big this tree is. That's like. That thing's huge. That's gonna be like a few fucking tons.
Yeah, they instantly portrayed that the lizard is probably the strongest foe Spider-Man's had to come up against right now. And it's something that they occasionally keep, is a lot of Spider-Man lizard fights boil down to Peter can't actually beat this guy at all. He just has to cure him. Which I like. I like having like a foe who's kind of like a doomsday figure, where they're just like, they're so physically powerful and like intelligent, it's just, they can't be touched. But it's at the same time, it's also just like, it helps set up the threat instantly before we even know that this is going to be an actual dude. Like when he turns up at first, you think, oh, this is a bit goofy for Spider-Man. I guess he fought aliens, so maybe he can fight just a lizard man. But when we find the transformation and it turns into like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, it fits a lot more with Spider-Man's world.
Yeah, definitely. I also just love, like, right afterwards where you see Spider-Man steal paper.
See, does he steal it? Because he also like webs like a quarter down.
Oh yeah, he does. Oh, I had no clue what that was. I thought it was like a sack of jelly beans. I had no clue. Oh, what that was. That makes sense.
I was literally, because I was thinking that as well. I was like, did they just let Spider-Man steal? Because he says, I'd like a paper too, but I'll take it my own way. So it sounds like he's just like, yoink, I'm stealing this. But then there's the little extra web strand of him like dropping what looks like a quarter. So that's a really sweet like Spider-Man moment. It's like you normally get something like this in a lot of comics. Is Spider-Man will like pay a pizza guy or just like read the paper like on top of the newsstand or something. Like he's always chilling somewhere.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is the first time. Yeah, that is a Spider-Man like ism that they do a lot. Yeah, no, it's yeah, this is the first time we've seen it. Wow, I didn't think how like low-key historic this is.
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, at the same time, come on, if you work for a Daily Bugle, they don't give you a free paper.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, Joe doesn't give anyone a free paper. Of course.
Jameson's such a dick.
And we love him. Speaking of Jonah being a dick as well, he publishes just this article. It says, the Bugle challenges Spider-Man to defeat the lizard. So the lizard's been reported everywhere. It's kind of become like a pop culture sensation. And Joe J. Jameson has put out a hit on the lizard and asking Spider-Man to attack him. And as it's revealed later, when Peter confronts him about it, he was like, "Hey, if you want, I'll go. If you pay me, I'll go to Florida and take some pictures of Spider-Man fighting the lizard." And then Jonah is one of my favorite moments. Is like, "Wait, what, dude? I lied. I didn't actually challenge him. I just wanted to like sell some papers, kid."
Yeah.
He's just like, the lizard is totally a fake. I'm not paying you to go out there. Even though Peter's like, which also like, this reminds me of a lot of like Tom Holland Spider-Man, of like the kid who would see a giant lizard challenge and then be like, okay, I guess that's my problem. Even though you're like in New York, Peter, how are you going to get that?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's totally something Tom Holland Spider-Man would do. I'm crying. Yeah, it's kind of like I forget which one, but whatever. Where like Tony like sarcastically told him to do something, and then he actually like did it.
He's just so earnestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jonah's not having it. Peter flirts with Betty a little bit, which we're getting more of. But then, as we see in this issue, Peter's not happy with flirting with just one girl.
Hey, a shooter's got to shoot until they make the shot.
But this is what I'm saying. Can we please dispel this rumor that Peter Parker was shy and couldn't talk to women? This man was unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't successful, but he never gave up.
He's always, first time he sees someone, he's like, thanks, Bay, I sure wish you were the publisher. And then he's like, hey, Liz, wouldn't you win? And then he's just like, how are you, Liz? Do you want to go out with me? Like, meet some Liz and Flash on a date at the museum? And he's just like butts in randomly, like, no wonder Flash hates this kid.
Yeah. Yeah, wait a minute. Peter's a dick.
It's like the Flash is like completely having to deal with his girlfriend being smitten for Peter, and now he can't. And then Spider-Man, and he's like this poor guy. No wonder he fucking bullies him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're at like the Natural History Museum, and Spider-Man's like, oh well. I want to fight the lizard eventually. Maybe I can learn little things. But while he's there, he sees two very, like, the most stereotypical, hey, tell the boss, the bat's coming. Like, the most
we're just a couple of guys, huh?
Like, this guy's Tony the Clipper, and that guy's Steve the Strangler.
Don't get me started on Bobby Toothless.
Oh, Bobby Toothless. Don't want to know how I got that name. Now let's scram. They even say now let's scram. I love it so much.
Yeah, they do. Hey, this kid's looking at us.
It's just the best. So I don't even know what they're trying to steal in the Natural History Museum. I guess there'd be valuable stuff there. Sure.
I know. I'll say it's a good thing. I just went to the Chicago Natural History Museum like a few weeks ago. Virtually had like a whole room of like this priceless jewels and artifacts.
Oh, okay.
Like, and assuming, I would assume basic comic book museum like is just over the top of lavish museum. Yeah, no, there's like giant like diamonds and rubies and shit.
All right, fair enough. Your American culture has enlightened me.
Yeah, that's why you really need me here, partner.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, these two goons, kind of like being shady around the place. So Peter goes to the bathroom and he changes into Spider-Man to try and stop him. But in the confusion, they take Liz Allen hostage. So then we get a nice little action scene.
Yeah, and Spider-Man gets a flirt calling her Blue Eyes.
Yeah, he's so smooth. I love it.
Yeah. The pleasure's all mine, Blue Eyes.
Like, really, this is why I'm like, I think Andrew Garfield was the closest to being Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Peter, because he's the only Spider-Man I can imagine, like, catching a gal he likes and then calling her Blue Eyes. None of the other two I can imagine ever saying that.
Oh, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man would cry before.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, no, he'd piss his pants before he'd call a girl Blue Eyes seductively.
Ugh, but I love Toby. But so
yeah,
we're not hating on it. We're having a bit of a laugh.
Yeah. For everyone to know, Toby is still my favorite Spider-Man. So don't worry, kids. Yeah. Oh, Tom Holland's. I can believe Tom Holland's saying it if he's being Spider-Man, but I couldn't imagine.
I could see him like trying to say it and then like stuttering halfway through. He's like, "Don't worry, don't worry, green eyes. I mean, blue eyes." That's
the Tom Holland.
So that's like adorable, but then like only Steve and Stan Spider-Man's the real smoothie.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I never really thought about that. Yeah, Garfield's definitely the Stan Spider-Man.
Because he's the only one who's got the confidence. That's what Spider-Man's all about. He's Peter Parker. He's confident, but he can't express himself. But when he's in the mask, it lets him be the kind of asshole, jokey, daredevil kind of guy he wants to be on the inside. He's very much like not like Dick Grayson, where he's like just jokey because he's enjoying himself, but like kind of that in a way. Like he gets Peter Parker loves being Spider-Man, especially at this point. His Peter Parker he doesn't like being.
Yeah. Spider-Man lets him release his dragon energy.
Yeah, basically. He wants to change his act to just the Spidey.
Yeah. From now on, I'll be Spidey. Yeah. And he just shows us like his text between like the other superheroes, and then like Johnny Storm says this well-written paragraph about like how he's worried about him. He just sends back 3 fire emojis.
Oh my god. This is getting too much. But speaking of someone who's feeling a lot of energy, is Liz Allen now, after being saved by Spider-Man, Spider-Man knocks out the crooks and like lets the police have him. He swings off, and then he quickly changes and comes back. Liz Allen is now completely smitten with Spider-Man after he flirted with her a little bit. And poor Flash, she's straight up like doesn't remember his name. She's like hardcore. He's like, Flash, step out of it, Liz. Don't you remember me? And then she's like, Flash who? I'm like, damn, you didn't have to do him like that.
Yeah. Damn dirty.
He's like hardcore being cuckolded by Spider-Man.
Ugh.
Which
poor dude.
Which is, I mean, it's like this is comeuppance. This is like Peter Parker getting a victory. It's a nice character moment for him because we've seen like Flash like beat on Peter this whole time, and now Spider-Man's getting a win. And I like this line here where he's like, competition like you can handle, Parker, but what do I do about Spider-Man? And then Peter like smiles at him. He's like, just one thing, pal, worry.
Icon. Also,
yeah.
I really like Peter's fit.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Peter's looking cool.
Yeah, he's he's kind of dressed like a Post Malone's been dressing lately. Which I mean, I know you don't really follow his fashion that much, but I'm gonna send you a picture later. And you're like, yeah, he's dressed like a really mild Post Malone.
Oh my god, is this also being plagiarized by? Was Peter Parker originally a fashion icon, and we just never noticed it?
Honestly, especially when he really popped off in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely. We love this poor deranged nerd. Like Aunt May's got a good fashion sense. She dresses him well.
Oh my god! It's like literally like the same suit except Post Malone put snakes on his suit.
Oh my god! Just put spiders on it.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
So yeah, we get
okay,
no worries. We get Peter like noticing that the lizard is going after, still attacking people, and he really wants to go and stop the lizard, but he's also got no money, so he devises this kind of scummy plan, which I think, do you want to like describe that, because I don't think I could do it justice.
Yeah, it's hard to explain how great it is, but honestly, I think now I think about it, is this our first time where we've seen Peter confront him? I'm sorry, Spider-Man confront his greatest enemy?
I think the last time I remember is he webbed his chair, but I don't think they've come face to face.
Yeah. Wow. This is. I didn't even notice this until we discussed it. Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Spider-Man go against his biggest enemy, Jonah J. Jameson. Like straight up, he goes in here, calls him a fat domino, webs his hands, then webs him up, makes him freak out. And then he starts just totally ripping him to shreds.
Yeah, okay, so I just double checked. This isn't the first time. The very first time is when he's going to save the military base in issue 1.
Oh, what?
But that's literally 2 panels of the meeting, and they don't even speak to each other.
Yeah,
no, but I'm talking about like, I feel like, I think this might just be mine because of just the Raimi movies, but there's just like the idea of Spider-Man like going into his office and talking shit to him.
Yeah, this is precisely where that comes from.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. This is the first time we've seen that. Like this time we've seen a true Jonah J. Jameson Spider-Man face-off.
Mm-hmm. It's like Spider-Man. It reminds you again. This is just a teenager getting back at his boss, and it's kind of what everyone wished they could do to their own shitty boss. Is just come in with superpowers. They don't know who you are, and you completely just fuck with them.
Yeah, pretty much.
And speaking of something that's just kind of crazy, so Peter talks to Jonah, and he gets So Spider-Man talks to Jonah, and he gets him to say, I'm gonna go fight the lizard. You better send a photographer down so you can take pictures. So he's really almost blackmailing him to say, I want you to get someone to take pictures. So A, you can pay Peter Parker, and B, you can buy my plane ticket. It's really mean to Jonah, but he deserves it. And then we get one of the most shocking scenes I did not remember. So Jonah's webbed up to the wall. He asks Miss Brandt to say, get some pillows so I can land on because we're gonna fall. So then he falls, and then he says, never mind those fucking cushions.
Oh my god, he does!
I'm like, what?
I noticed. I guess I maybe read through the scene too fast because I just read it as I said, never mind those cushions. Like, oh my god, yeah, because I just saw the exclamation point in the middle and just kind of assumed that's what they were going for.
It's not the actual uncensored word. Jesus Christ, that'd be crazy. But it's the comic book censoring.
Yeah, but he's like, those fucking cushions.
I can't believe they got away with that.
Yeah, I can't believe it's got the comic book. It got the code approval.
Damn, this is our first Spider-Man curse word.
For I guess those who, I just realized maybe people might not even know this. So the comic book code was a thing around really prominent in the early '60s, where and I forget how long it went out, but pretty much they just wouldn't allow anything that could be morally wrong into a comic and possibly affect the kid's youth.
It's why Batman stopped fighting gangsters and mobsters and had to fight aliens in the 50s and such.
Yeah. But yeah. It's why you don't. That's why all the horror comics kind of stopped in the sense of no more zombies, no more vampires. You couldn't do the undead no more.
Mm-hmm. It was very much anything that's too real or too associated with death is not allowed.
Yeah. It's a very good thing for the medium that it's going. But anyways, but yeah, no, I never noticed that he straight up cursed. I can't believe. I could not believe that the code would, do that because even little kids are smart enough to figure out what that is.
Yeah, especially back in the '60s. This is why it's so crazy to me. You rarely hear any media from the '60s use any kind of curse.
Yeah, for real. Not even, especially not. I think what's really interesting is you never hear in TV and music.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but no. So Peter hears it, makes fun of him, and exactly 5 minutes later.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. But it says exactly 5 minutes later.
Peter's still hard flexing in his outfit. Good lord, and he I think what's so great is this is kind of like what we've discussed so many times where Peter thinks he's really smooth but he isn't.
Yeah.
That's how he's looking at Betty right now.
Yeah.
Peter probably thinks he looks so cool and suave, but he looks like a big fucking dweeb.
But then he's got and then she's totally into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is that scene in Spider-Man 3 where he's in the black suit and he's really flirting with Betty Brant and she's getting oh Peter, she's getting really into it, she's ready for them to fuck on Jonah's desk right there and then.
Yeah, no,
damn, it's straight up. It's just that's probably where it comes from. Is just when Peter tries to be cool as a dork, but Betty Brant is he's so cool.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, and also he straight up just walks into Jonah's office and sits on his desk.
Peter's really been feeling himself this issue.
Yeah, he's literally just he's got a new lease of life. He's got a new outfit. He's enjoying things. He's flirting with every woman he sees.
Good for Peter.
This is what I'm saying. This is just like Andrew Garfield. He was not too cool. If anything, he needed to be cooler to match this level of energy.
Yeah, straight up dragon energy right here.
So like Jonah eventually says, you know what? We're going to Florida. We're gonna get newspapers. We're gonna sell them damn pictures. Other way around.
Yeah.
But then he also says, I'm coming with you. And Peter's like, well, crap, I can't exactly. How I'm going to be Spider-Man if he's going to be tailing me the whole way? So then he goes to Aunt May to ask. He's like, I have to ask Aunt May for permission to go. So he goes to Aunt May, and Aunt May's like, oh, I don't want to let you go down there. The lizard's there. But he's like, but Jameson's with me. And she's like, oh, okay. And then Jameson can protect you from the giant lizard monster.
Yeah.
And then Peter says he's like a big fat guardian angel. I'm like, damn.
I think it's so funny that he calls him fat because Jameson does not look fat.
No, he doesn't. This is mean. Jameson's like looking good for his age.
Yeah, so the amount of cigars he smokes, it's amazing he's not dead.
Like him and Aunt May like have looked this way. Of like Aunt May's gotten younger. Like so they're doing good for their age. Like given how long they've been around.
Aunt May's always been younger looking.
But yeah, so like they go on the way to Florida, and they get there. And then Spider-Man is like, oh, well, I gotta be right back. But then he changes into Spider-Man and goes on the hunt for the lizard. And that's when we finally get our first Spider-Man lizard fight.
Yeah, which is I think it's actually like really cool because it's really you get a good sense of atmosphere with it, which is something interesting because we always hype up Ditko and like movement panels, which these I think are really well done, like really really well done. But I don't ever feel like they ever get necessarily a sense of atmosphere. Like I feel like all their fights could easily be wherever. Like you could put it into a warehouse, into an airplane, into a villain's base, into a museum, like anywhere. And they always feel very same flow. Here you actually they actually have the environment used really well. And upon me just ripping about how they do a bad job at that. They did a really good job with that with the Doctor Doom fight with the environment. I'll give them that. But I feel like they do the environment really well with this.
Yeah, I really like the panel of Spider-Man like walking through the swamp and like he's just the black and the red.
Yeah, he looks so cool.
And then we just see, and it's really cool here. Again, this is Ditko's horror roots coming out in full force. Is you just see the lizard's eye like pop out of the water, and it's very small. And then Spider-Man's like, I've got my spider sense, but I can't see anything. And then the lizard just grabs his foot from the water. Like, this is scary. Like, and then he drags him under the water. And then you get, I love Spider-Man fighting under the water, because it's a very short panel, but it's very frantic. It's Spider-Man's panicking. He's like, holy crap. Throw mud in his face. Get out of there. He gets out of the water. The lizard gets out. And he's like, holy crap. I could have just died right then and there.
Yeah. I think one thing I really like about Spider-Man is how different his suit looks compared on his lighting and environment. Like I think it's cool that they make his suit like all white underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's weird and I dig it.
I'm always for more weirdness in Spider-Man. It suits him really well.
Yeah, like the fact that his suit goes all black, or Shadow goes all white with like water and certain lighting. I think it's really interesting how versatile they make one suit. But and then I'm surprised he doesn't really get shocked that he's talking.
Yeah, I guess he's like, well, to be
I've
fair,
seen weirder.
I fought aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, looking back now, it's funny thinking about what Spider-Man does and doesn't get weirded out by. Like, he gets weirded out by, like, reactions that the high schoolers and Jonah J. Jameson has, which are usually pretty natural. But he's fought aliens and he doesn't find that weird.
No, I guess that's just, like, a commentary on, like, us comic book fans of, we're good in, like, the weird shit, but the social situations, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is where Peter Parker feels comfortable, is when he's out fighting. It doesn't matter what he's fighting, as long as he's, like, saving people. He's in his element. He's Spider-Man. But unfortunately, the lizard's just too much, and we get this fight isn't that long. It's very quick, it's very frantic, and I quite like it. It's a nice change up because normally we get like the first fight is quite over dragged out, and then the second fight is quite climactic. But this one's very quick and fast, and Spider-Man just gets launched into a couple of miles away by just one swing of the lizard's tail.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he miraculously is like, "Oh look, hey look, where's Kurt Connor's house? I need to talk to that dude."
Yeah, that I'm like.
Yeah, which I realized we didn't discuss earlier, but he was raiding up on Kurt Connors on the airplane.
Yeah,
because he realized he's like, this dude's an expert with reptiles. Like, maybe he can help me figure out how to beat the lizard.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, so like he lands like right next to it, and I'm just like, okay, they wanted to make sure this is a packed issue. They want to have enough panel per space.
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't want to have a panel of Spider-Man like swinging around. So I get that. It's kind of like, oh, it's convenient, but it's also like, yeah, that is convenient. It could still happen.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's just like one of those things where like you just accept it. Oh, it's just that convenient, but it's just funny at first.
Yeah. So we get to see Spider-Man like go and ask Kurt Connors' family about the lizard, and this is when we get the reveal that he is the lizard.
Yeah. And I think I love that reveal page just because I think it's very funny that he took a picture of himself and then signed it.
Yeah, and he's like,
gave it to his wife.
That's a power move.
Yeah, that's a hard flex.
You gotta be very self-confident to be like, here's my what does actors have when they're like, here's my stills.
Oh, you're fuck, I forget the name of it now. Headshots.
Yeah, here's my headshot.
yeah, because you can only see his head. Like they're doing, like he cut off his body. It's only like his head and neck.
He's like, here's my headshot to my wife, Love Curtis. Like he doesn't even say her name, like my love. He's just like Love Curtis. He's like such a
yeah.
No wonder this guy turns out to a fucking lizard.
Yeah. Turns out he has like three other families. He just mass printed these photos.
He's got scientist headshots.
Yeah. But yeah, but then we start finding out about why he is actually doing what he's doing, and I think this kind of goes back to your theory where like, this was kind of inspired by what Stan Lee saw on the battlefield because he lost his arm during the war. Which I never realized that's how he lost it. I knew he obviously lost it, but I just didn't remember how. So he's like, oh, lizards can grow back their limbs, so can us. Which I mean, I guess it makes sense.
It makes sense in like that comic book logic, like science fiction. It's like again, this part here feels straight out of like a horror comic. Is if you took Spider-Man out, this would be the plot of like an issue of like one of the horror comics. Like this feels like an issue of Amazing Fantasy. Yeah,
definitely. And then his family's so hyped because he's got that passion, he's got that energy flowing. and then little Billy's like, Dad, what you doing now? It's like something to make you proud, Billy. Something to help all of mankind. It's like he's being really noble.
Really this? And then Billy just like drinks the formula. Because he's right next to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if he'd be able to. I don't know if his other arm would be able to get over there fast enough to stop him.
You know what makes me really like, damn. So like, just like me knowing Spider-Man canon is alright. So that's the first appearance of Billy Connors, like looking up at his dad. I say, Daddy, what are you working on now? In canon, the lizard ate Billy Connors.
I know he did.
Billy Connors is fucking dead.
That's such a dark thing for Spider-Man comics to do.
Yeah, it's actually a really good story, but like, geez, this kid started out here, and then asking, that's his first words is like, what are you working on? And what he's working on will end up your father will eat you.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's so fucking like in the context of the issue, it's just like it's meant to just be like a nice warm father-son moment. But now that that's happened, every single thing with Billy Connors in like Spider-Man comics, I'm always going to be thinking this kid's going to get eaten alive.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
And he's still like 12 when he's not like he's grown up and like he's an adult. He's straight up still that same age, just a little bit older.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. But like every, good scientist, what does he do? He tested on himself.
But first he trusts on a rabbit, and now I want to know
Yeah.
is if we talked in Amazing Fantasy 15, we want Kid to come back who knows Spider-Man's like, I want the fucking lizard rabbit to come back. Where did that go?
That'd be sick. Oh my god, a giant lizard rabbit.
Oh my god. Why isn't that like a C-list supervillain?
Yeah, just like just like a weird monster.
That's
thing
hanging in the
pops every
swamp
now and then.
that no one notices because no one came back here. But like in like a Hulk comic or something, like he's walking through the swamp and then this fucking lizard rabbit attacks him. He's like, "What the fuck is that?" And then like they put like the last scene in Amazing Spider-Man issue 6.
Yeah, that that would've been sweet. Oh my god. I hope one day I get to see that in my lifetime.
I will write it if I ever get a chance. That'll be my first issue of Spider-Man goes back to Florida and say, "Wait a minute. Oh fuck, there's a rabbit there, isn't there?" Like he just he like wakes up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Like him and MJ are just there, like on vacation. Like to see the Everglades, and then, boom, lizard rabbit.
He's just attacks. But yeah, so Kurt tries it on himself. His hand grows back, very disproportionate.
It goes back fast though.
Yeah, it's like a huge hand, which is like, I get what Ditko's going for though, like perspective. Doesn't totally work.
Yeah, it's bigger than his head.
That's
You might
what
have
I'm
cancer.
like, because I'm like, I think you grew it too hard, mate.
Well, if your hand's bigger than your head, you might have cancer.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Oh my fucking god. So yeah, he doesn't have cancer, he has lizard DNA. And he turns into the lizard. He runs out in the middle of the night. But then a strange twist is for some reason they also add he came back the next day to try and make himself human, but his brain's too stupid because he's become a lizard brain and it doesn't work. But in the end, he writes a note as the lizard, and part of me thinks this panel's really funny, but also really
He's
sad.
crying. Bruh. I think that might be my new Twitter profile picture. Just the crying lizard. That's so good.
Like if you took out the text and you just edited like, don't know about that one, Chief.
Why can't could never get an e-girl. Goodbye.
Like if you could put anything in that letter that he's writing and it'd be the funniest fucking thing. Like you could put like you're living in a fucking dream world, Batman kills people. Oh my god, it would just be the best. It'd just be like, oh my, it'd be like, I can't believe Jiraiya died. Oh, it kills me, man. Absolutely kills me. So like the lizard, that lizard panel aside, we find out that Billy is again. As soon as you hear the word "mummy," I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's being eaten." But no, he's not being eaten by the lizard. Billy was just attacked by the lizard, or not attacked, but like he's trying to speak to him because he's still got that part of Connors who's like he loves his son, and he's like, "I didn't mean to frighten you." I'm just like, didn't mean to take a bite out of him either, apparently. But anyway, I need to get off this. I don't know why I'm so bitter.
Yeah, I say just forget it. It hasn't happened yet, Chief.
Alright, so the lizard like is chasing Billy and he's like, come back, like a Frankenstein moment where he's trying to like bond. But then Spider-Man swoops in and saves him from the lizard and a snake. And then we get another brief altercation. Like 2 panels, and then the lizard manages to escape as Spider-Man's like save Billy, and they've devised a plan to try and save Connors. Now that he knows it's a guy, he's not going to try and defeat. He's going to try and save him.
Yeah, which is the good Spider-Man thing to do. he gets a flex the fact that he's a scientist.
Which I always love. This is another display. He's not beating the villain with his brawn. He's finding a way with his mind.
Yep. And then, so he goes back to the lab. He looks over all the notes. I mean, honestly, Peter's such a genius for high school. When you think about it, he's like, oh, if I just do this, and as long as this turns green, I have an antidote.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. That thing's greater than the Hulk schlong.
Damn it. One of the things that makes me laugh is Billy's like, oh gosh, are you a scientist too, Spider-Man? And then the next page, and it says hours later, and then he responds, and he's like, we'll soon find out.
No, I was thinking the fact that Billy asked him. Billy probably forgot that you had asked the question. Spider finally answered it. Like 3 hours. That's so great. I didn't even notice that.
It's like, he literally says hours later, ... and then he responds, he's like, we'll soon find out if I'm a scientist or not. And like, and then it's just the wife, and he's like, Spider-Man, Billy's not even here.
Billy's been playing. I was gonna say playing PlayStation, but Billy's been it's the '60s. Billy's been playing Jax for the last hour and a half.
Oh my god. But yeah, so Spider-Man makes the amazing color-changing formula, and the lizard busts in to cause a ruckus because he's trying to get into his lab, and Spider-Man just is like completely overwhelmed this time. Like Spider-Man just gets his ass kicked.
Well, I think a big thing is, now I'm looking at this, like, at this point, Connors is gone.
Yeah.
I just realized Lizard's drawn differently now. He's more snouty.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, because like, he's calling himself the Lizard now.
Yeah, he's like completely become that personality. Whereas the last page, he was purely like, Billy, I don't want to hurt you. Come back. But now he's completely like just engulfed by the lizard.
Yeah,
it's a nice like, again, he's slowly losing his humanity. It's not an instant thing. It makes you feel sympathetic for him.
Yeah, exactly. Dope.
But yeah, so Spider-Man manages the lizard goes into his lab. He gets his own formula because his plan is he wants to drop the formula into the swamp so all the lizards in there will mutate and become like his army, which is like a really fucking terrifying prospect.
Yeah,
especially with how strong he is in this issue.
Yeah, a bunch of creatures just as strong.
Yeah, like maybe even stronger because he's a human turned to a lizard. What happens when you turn the lizard into the lizard? They just get a fucking T-Rex.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you just have mini Godzillas without the fire.
Yeah, you could have legitimately. This is one of the only Spider-Man villains I'm like, if you wanted to make like a Marvel event, you could make the Lizard like Invasion an event.
Yeah, you could. It'd be fun. Honestly, I wish they would do it because then like, my thing is, especially lately, like, I know Marvel likes to push the narrative that Spider-Man isn't the heart of the universe.
The Spider-Man's the heart of the universe.
Spider-Man's the heart of the universe, and this event would be like, would be like, I feel like Spider-Man never gets to do anything that cool in events lately.
That's true.
This is finally an event where Spider-Man gets to do something sick.
Like, he's the one who stops it with the cure.
Yeah.
Like, he figured that. Like, Reed Richards doesn't figure it out. He's like, oh, I did this in high school. And Reed Richards is like, wait, what the fuck? How?
Yeah. He's like, well, you just do this. and then he just has Reed, Banner. Banner, I feel like especially would be hella mad if Spider-Man just walked in and figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah, I'll say, yeah, I don't know, it's just nice that... This would be a nice change of pace.
Especially, but yeah, so, like, we get Spider-Man's, like, the resolve. He's like, he's not gonna hurt the Lizard. He's gonna try and give him the formula, because he can't straight up beat him. He's too strong. And he goes on a nice hunt for the Lizard. And we get a nice couple of panels of, like, him going through the swamp. On, like, these, like, web jet skis and a web paddling pole.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's so cool.
Yeah, he used to be so creative with his webs. Shit, I get they don't do that stuff now because it's not like real and it's all kind of silly. But I'm like, man, Spider-Man had his body swapped with Doctor Octopus for like a year. I think he can get away with webbed skis.
Yeah, I agree. I think I need more panels of cool webs.
More panels of cool webs. It has been said. It has been spoken. But yeah, so like, he goes into like this abandoned like castle, which is a really cool set piece.
Yeah.
And like the lizard's just like chatting with his crocodiles or alligators. Oh yeah, it's alligators. So like, and again we get another cool panel of a Spider-Man in shadow, so it's all black and red. He's watching the lizard, and he takes the moment to like take a couple photos.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, what? He's like, why do I need to get bread?
Exactly. So it makes sense. But yeah, and then for some reason, like the lizard's straight up talking to them, which makes me laugh because from what we've seen here, they're not sentient. They just see like regular alligators. Like one again, we've got the one with no eyes still, just like ah. It's just like screaming in the corner.
Yeah, no. Well, my favorite thing is like the fact they call them his pets. I pictured he was like doing that like voice that like people do when they talk to their dogs and stuff.
Oh my
He's doing it to the gators.
We shall be the first rulers of Earth's new rulers. The humans will have no place to run, no place to hide from us.
No, they won't. Like, if Peter's just like, my God, he's lost it.
Like Peter's like, damn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that must be adorable. His scaly boys. So Spider-Man ends up like funny enough, he doesn't leap into action. The castle he's standing on like collapses and he ends up falling to alert the lizard. So now he's like, well fuck, I guess I gotta fight him. And this is a really cool set piece. Because Spider-Man's not only fighting the lizard around the giant castle, he's also like dodging alligators.
Yeah, well, and the fact it's kind of like it also reminds me of, like those like things, and this fight reminds me of like a platform like video game boss where like where like if you stand too long on like your platforms, they're gonna break. Like it gives me that sort of tension. Mm-hmm. Which I think is really unique to a Spider-Man fight, but yeah, I think it's such a cool set piece. I didn't really think about how cool a set piece is until now.
Yeah, again, it just makes me wish this is the lizard is a character he deserved a lot more than just being fought in a school.
Yeah. Oh yeah. An Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Honestly, they should have had them fight on the Statue of Liberty, because you could kind of echo this in a way.
Even then, like I like what Spectacular Spider-Man did, but they just had him fight in a zoo.
The zoo's pretty cool, but I don't know. I think if you have to do like the lizard's encounter, like first encounter in New York, I think like the Statue of Liberty would be a cool place to do it.
Mm-hmm. I feel you. So Spider-Man like gets into a nice little thing with the lizard. We get a lot of Ditko movement action panels. One that's a bit nice is we get like Spider-Man try and use his web still, and the lizard just tears through it like paper, and he throws him into like the gates of the castle, and Spider-Man locks him in, and then they recreate the cover of this issue where they start climbing up the interior of the castle. Yeah. I'll say I always really like it when like covers actually look like there's something that happened in the story. Mm-hmm. It's like very close to that recreation, and it's kind of a misdirect. Yeah, but you're right, because the cover makes it look like Spider-Man's the one in trouble. But really, upon reading this, he is he isn't. Yeah, he's mostly got it on top because he's mostly playing keep away. He's not trying to give him a one-on-one fight. There's a nice real move I really like he does here, is where he webs a strand to the ceiling, and then as the lizard jumps up to attack him, he swings down and then attaches the strand to his tail, so he flips. Yeah, that's OD. It's really, really cool. And then like he jumps down and like shoves the green Hulk dong down his throat, as you so eloquently put it.
Ugh. That's awesome. Yeah, you just. Speaking of pets again, honestly, the way he does it, it reminds me of like when you have to give when people have to give like their cats like a pill.
Uh-huh.
The cat's like not having any of it. That's essentially what he's doing with the lizard.
Or like when like your dog's got something in its mouth and you're like
Yeah.
open the mouth and he's not open his mouth, so you can't like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's adorable. So like we get Spider-Man gets the cure down his throat, but somehow it doesn't seem to work, and Spider-Man turns the page, and then we get the exact recreation of the cover, where after the oof, we get another. We're just gonna have an oof counter of every time Spider-Man says oof.
Plot twist, maybe Spider-Man is what made me say oof all this time, and I never realized it. I always thought it was Roblox.
Yeah, basically. So then we get Spider-Man like dangling like we saw in the cover, and as the lizard's about to kill him, suddenly, he transforms into Kurt Connors in this really cool page, in this panel, where first you see the lizard's face, and it slowly morphs into Kurt Connors' face.
Yeah, you know what it remind me of? Remember those books from the 90s, Animorphs?
Yeah, wow.
I'll say I never read any of them, but like the cover's always like, well, that's weird. This is essentially an Animorph cover.
It's very trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he morphs back into Kurt, and he's like, the last of your lizard vestige identity has vanished. And then Spider-Man decides he's feeling really confident right now because he just beat the lizard. So he's like, without the lizard controlling his alligators, it's a simple matter for Spider-Man to keep them at bay. Like, he calls him the first person, bless him.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a big issue with this last panel though.
Uh-huh.
Of this page. He says, "If not for Spider-Man, I might never have held you in my arms again."
Yeah.
What arms? It's arm, Chief.
That's so fucking dark, man.
I know, but that's the video my brain went to when I read this. I'm like honestly, I'm very upset that Stan never said I might.
If you look at Spider-Man in that panel, that looks like what he's thinking.
Exactly. Well, yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I feel like we all live in a Peter Parker nurse. So this is where I see myself in Peter Parker. Where like, like I can tell this is Peter's thinking, but he also realizes this dude can turn back into a lizard person anytime he wants.
Oh my god. So yeah, then Kurt's like, I tamper with the forces of nature, what I think might have happened, and he's like, hush, you must forget it. And he's like, I'll burn my notes. No one must ever repeat my experiments. Now remember that, Kurt. You must never repeat your experiments.
Oh, the worst part is, since your notes are all gone, even if someone accidentally does your experiments, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder to make a cure.
Exactly. Again, Kurt Connors proving that he's actually an asshole.
Yeah.
Child-eating asshole.
Ew. I don't like the way that was worded.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of wording things, Spider-Man decides, you know what? I'm not gonna bring you into the cops or anything. You did almost cause the end of the world, and like this could come to bite me in the ass later on.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, it's a nice ending though, because again, the lizard could work very well as just a one-off villain, and Spider-Man gets a win. He doesn't have to. This is him using his brain to help out a family, restore it for Billy and his wife, and for Kurt. So it's a nice. We get Spider-Man get one of the most heroic moments here, where he's fully saved the day.
Yeah.
Where no one else
Definitely.
was, because the lizard was roaming for a couple of weeks. I don't see the Fantastic Four or anything coming to help.
Yeah, I'm sorry, FF, but this seems like your cup of tea.
It's like, oh, just because I'm drawn by Ditko. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, like, Baby Lizard would actually be a really cool fight, though.
That's true.
But yeah, so after having some time in the Everglades, uh, wait, the next day. So I wonder if Spider-Man spent the night.
Yeah, he must have been in the hotel. Oh no, he didn't because he didn't get to meet Jameson. So he must have stayed with them.
Yeah. Imagine Spider-Man spending the night at your house after he saves you.
Oh no, actually, judging by it's hard to tell, but judging by the coloring, it looks like the final fight does take place at night.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the only way they could really do nighttime.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess Spider-Man
especially because Billy's asleep.
Yeah, so I guess Spider-Man just spent the night.
Yeah, makes sense. In full
That's funny.
costume, because they don't know he's Peter Parker, and they never do until later on. So
No.
he just sat in costume the whole time.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's just funny.
Oh, bless. But yeah, so he comes back to Jonah, and he's like, "Hey," and Jonah rightfully is like, "I'm calling the police because this is a 16-year-old kid out in the middle of the Florida. Who knows what could happen to him?"
Yeah, exactly.
And then Peter turns up and he's like, "Don't worry, I got pictures of the lizard." And then Jonah's like, "How did you get these?" He's like, "I bought them." And this is what I don't get. Why did you say you bought them, Peter? You just say you took them.
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
Because then he's like, "Oh, well, if you bought them, they must be fake."
Yeah, I love that close up of
Jonah's face.
Yeah, he looks so angry.
Yeah, he's also really well detailed.
Yeah. And then he just rips him up and he's like, "I want pictures of Spider-Man."
Exactly. He's like, "What? Now the lizard? That's ridiculous. A guy in a Spider-Man costume who can climb buildings and then leap from massive distances. That's what I need pictures of. That's real. That's not a hoax."
Yeah. And then Jonah J. Jameson calls out Peter, and he kind of rightfully so kind of does call him out though.
Yeah, which it becomes a trend which I like. Is now and again, I do like it when Jonah has a point.
Yeah. He's like, you brought me fake pictures, you wasted my time and my money. We're going back to New York.
Yeah, and we're going back to New York, and then Peter's like, "What about the money you promised me?" And I'm like, "For what? I bought your plane ticket."
Yeah.
And the hotel.
Yeah, no. That's one of those moments where people should just shut up.
It's just like, wow, thanks, Peter. You deserve this. Actually, I'm on Jonah's side here. But yeah, he gets back, and then he decides, and this is again, Peter Parker is immediately such calm down, you poor kid, because he's like, "Oh, okay. Let me call Betty and see if she'll date me for tomorrow. Oh, I forgot, she's working late. Then I'll try Liz." I'm like, damn, you got two girls on the line that you want to call up immediately after each other.
Yeah, Peter got hella hose. And then Peter calls Liz, and Liz is straight up saying, she's like, "I would tell you exactly what I told Flash." So I guess good for Peter. He's at the same ranking where Flash is right now.
That's true. He's gone up.
Yeah, or I guess Flash has just gone down. Let's not give Peter more hype than he deserves right here.
So if Liz Allen's got a tier list.
Yeah. Spider-Man's SS tier. There's a big gap, and then Flash and Spider-Man are C tier. We're barely competitively viable.
Yeah, basically.
And then Liz, Liz is like, "Hang up right now in case Spider-Man calls me because he called me Blue Eyes, so he'll for sure call." As if you gave Spider-Man his number. How does Spider-Man know your number?
I'm like, "Peter, put on the mask, call her Blue Eyes. It's your voice."
Yeah, I say they don't have caller ID.
Yeah, because he has to say, "Hi, this is Peter."
Yeah.
If you just said, "Hi, this is Spider-Man, do you want to meet?"
Yeah, he could link.
Well, it's the 60s. I think she'd probably want to get married first, but then again, through love, who knows?
Oh no, no. When I say link, I meant just hang out.
Oh, okay.
Not Not the sex.
Not the sex. But this is exactly where they draw it from Homecoming, is where they're just like, he starts using Spider-Man to get a date with Liz, and Liz has a crush on Spider-Man, which is in Homecoming, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, that is nice.
But yeah, it's very much the Clark Kent is, he's like a doughy face where he's like, oh no, she thinks Spider-Man has a crush on her, so she won't waste time dating plain ordinary Peter from Dullville. Only a guy with mind and nutty luck could end up being his own competitor. Wah, wah, wah. It's where the very much soap opera Spider-Man stuff comes in.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's very... It's very teenage drama BS, but it's I like. But sometimes you need some teenage drama BS.
Sometimes I like it as well. I think it's very important at this stage. One very funny thing as we end on, it's probably one of my favourite things, is for some reason Peter has felt bad at Jonah enough. So as Spider-Man, he writes him a letter that says, "Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm still at large, so phooey to you."
I mean, Jordan's like, bro, just burn that right here, right now.
I'll burn it right on this desk right now. I can't believe you did this.
Oh fuck! I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah. So this is, before we get into like the last teaser for the next issue. What did you think of this issue as a whole, Matt? What did you think of Amazing Spider-Man issue 6?
I really, really like issue 6. I remember, like, it's interesting what I remember and don't remember from like the first time reading, because I read like a little bit of the Lee and Ditko stuff, like the first volume, and I remember this issue really well, and like it's just as good as like the first time.
I agree. It's definitely a highlight. It's definitely a place where we've seen where Stan Fletcher's is like creative energy, but this is where like Ditko gets to like fully showcase his unique talents. Like, this is a Spider-Man issue that I don't think any Spider-Man issue could have been really captured as well if it was done by Jack Kirby, but this is definitely one Jack Kirby could not have drawn. Like, Jack Kirby's a brilliant artist and stuff, but this is just so out of his wheelhouse with like the horror aspects and the body horror and the weirdness, and it's something I wish Spider-Man would do more. I think that Spider-Man should have more of these adventures in modern day where he just deals with like creepy stuff and like horror stuff. Like, in my mind, Spider-Man should be the line between indie and mainstream superhero comics.
Interesting. What a cool take. That'd be so cool if they started pushing Spider-Man back in that direction.
Just let him do the crazy, like, if he's fighting Mysterio or something, there should be, like, an extra thing on top of that where, like, holy crap, he's, like, made a hallucinogen that makes me see people as, like, frogs or something. Like, to bring back the weird shit into Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Spider-Man needs more weird.
Because he works, because he's such a normal guy, so you get really funny reactions from him dealing with all this, and really cool reactions because he can take it seriously, but he can also laugh at it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that'd be cool. That and well, I'll see. It's kind of like you said. Well, it's interesting because you said this is a very hardcore Ditko flex of an issue, but I feel like it's also a really good. I feel like Lee writes dialogue really well in this issue.
That's true. There's a lot of like real good zingers. He also wrote his first curse here.
Yeah. You could. I have a feeling Lee was so happy when that was approved.
He's like, I mean, I think at this point he could approve it himself.
Probably, but what do we know? Like with the comic code and all that BS.
Oh yes, I see you.
Yeah. But honestly, the teaser image is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool for someone, again, that we kind of made a big joke of last time, but we also kind of lovingly appreciate. Matt, next time on Stan Stevens Spider-Man, we're going to be going for our first rematch, our first recurring villain.
The one and only, the legend himself. Vulture.
Truly, like, this guy I'm genuinely curious if they were trying to make him his, like, nemesis. Because he is the first one he fights, and now he's the first rematch.
Yeah, I say you think that. Yeah, that's weird to think about. And like in some like alternate universe, like Vulture's like his one true baddie.
I mean, if they do stuff like they did in Homecoming, and like if anyone's been listening to like what we've got planned for the Spider-Man 4 audio drama, the Vulture has a lot of premise. So as we get to see a lot of stuff like this and we get more information revealed about it on this channel, it'll be interesting to see people's opinions on this character.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, in terms of everything, that basically sums it up for today. Thank you all again for listening, but most of all, thank you again for joining me, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always glad to be here.
So, as always, I hope you've enjoyed. Check out the issue yourself in the description, and most of all, take it easy.
Keep it breezy, y'all.